Welcome to What the Health? Where anything health is fair game as we tackle the trends and bust the myths about health and wellness. Here are your hosts, Dr. Dan and Angela Toro.
And welcome to another episode of What the Health, where anything health goes. I am Dr. Dan with my co-host,
Angela. Thank you guys for tuning in for another one. You know, I got to do our quick little disclaimer here. So we're here for informational purposes only, having a discussion about health, in no way offering individualized medical health advice. Always talk to your trusted healthcare provider for questions specific to you. So that being said, what are we talking about today?
Protein powder and packing a punch. Yes. Sorry, I had to add that nice little alliteration, but very specifically protein powder. I have been having this conversation for years, since I probably started lifting in like the 7th or 8th grade, really getting into supplementation in high school, and then college, going kind of like the opposite direction, I'd say late college into my chiropractic, professional degree, and really getting away from a lot of protein supplementation. So we're going to have a conversation about this because, I want Angela from her training perspective to discuss this. But the reason this came up is I was just having a conversation in the office, as we so often do. People start their chiropractic care and get fantastic results, but then there might be still one or two things that they're trying to target or one or two symptoms that they're not being alleviated. And so again, as we always do, we go down the path of asking questions and really trying to target, well, what are you currently doing that could be having an impact on your health and well-being? And this gentleman, who wouldn't consider him a bodybuilder, but certainly, trains, regularly, probably 5 to 6 days a week, and, likes to see the gains in his strength, and probably he was consuming from a protein powder supplementation about I would probably say 50 to 60 grams additional on top of his diet per day. That was just from the protein powder. Just from the protein powder. So I think it's important for us to start with how much protein does one person need? Let's not assume you're a bodybuilder. Let's assume you're average Joe, okay? Day-to-day mom, day-to-day dad, just going through your day. You did maybe do a little bit of working out, you're active, but what is a healthy maintenance dose? Knowing that it's not cookie cutter, but at least to give us an average. What is the recommendation out there for the amount of protein that you need to consume on a daily basis?
So basically, from what I've been taught and seems consistent among the research, is 0.8 grams per kilogram.
That's a very important distinction.
Per kilogram of body weight is what the average person needs just to kind of maintain muscle mass, body functions, all of that. So kilograms. So if you don't know how to calculate your weight, you can just go on Google. But
let's keep the calculation simple. Yeah, there's 2.2 pounds per kilogram.
Yes,
but
exactly.
An easier way to calculate it is just divide by 2.
Cut your weight in half.
So if you're a 200-pound man and you divide it in half, yes, you're going to weigh a little bit less than 100 kilograms.
Yes.
So
you're looking at about 80 grams of protein is what you need
on a daily basis. Yeah.
So
now again, the amount of muscle mass that you have and how active you are, all of that plays a role into are you trying to gain muscle mass as a as a bodybuilder, as an athlete, but so much goes into that. Mm-hmm. But I would say your average 200-pound man is probably looking at a little less than 80 grams per day in terms of their protein consumption. And most protein powders in a single serving have 25 to 30 grams in a single serving, and a lot of
some of them even more.
I was going to say, I would say on average, have about 25 to 30 grams per serving, and a lot of us, will add 2 scoops, or a scoop and a half, and then then put it in a shake that you're going to add peanut butter or some sort of nuts or milk or, So all of this stuff that's going to increase the protein shake. So most of the time when someone's doing a protein shake in the morning, you're getting your entire daily intake of protein that your body can actually handle before you even start, have any other meal, and protein, this is one thing again that, we have learned as you start to, dive into the biochemistry of it. Protein, if you have a subtle insulin resistance or you consume too much of anything can start to cause inflammation. And, I have seen this in a gut perspective. This was when I talked about college. Our cousin and I, we had this conversation. There was a big, popular, protein supplement called methoxy something. And so he and his friends coined the term methoxy gut because what they noticed is when they were lifting all the time and they were consuming this protein powder that they would just get this like massive bloated gut because again, at the end of the day, we were probably consuming too much artificially, concentrated, protein that the body just couldn't handle. So it causes this big inflammation, causes all this bloating at the gut level and the lining of the gut. And then if that ends up working its way into your system, maybe at the joint level, it can cause aches and pains and maybe actually prolong your recovery. Yeah. And that's what I personally noticed when I was doing regular protein shakes as part of my consumption of calories. I would notice that my recovery time was actually longer. I was more sore for a day or two if I was doing those protein shakes directly after.
You were doing endless recovery.
Yeah, I was doing it, again, it's my supplementation. And so
that's the other thing too, you were talking about people doing them first thing in the morning, and then if you're doing another one of those right after your workout, it's like you've now,
more than doubled your probably concentration.
Exceeded.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't realize that, if you take a single chicken thigh, an average sized chicken thigh, there's like 20 to 30 grams of protein in that one chicken thigh. So, two of those and you're halfway to your, as a male, you're halfway to your daily consumption. 3 of those chicken thighs, you're at your, bodily consumption of protein. And if you have too much protein, body doesn't store it. It's going to filter it out. I guess it can, it can be stored. Actually, it can be stored as fat. It can, transition around through different biochemical processes. So, it's a problem when you have too much concentration of protein in your system.
Yeah, you want it spaced out throughout the day, that not all in one serving.
Yeah. So, very, very important conversation because I would say more often than not when people are consuming protein shakes and they're trying to, clean up their health a little bit and they're trying to dial it in and just get healthier, I would say the majority of times, I would say go off the protein supplement and just get your protein through good, healthy sources, like a chicken thigh, like eggs, like, good quality beef, whether it's ground or steak. Again, fish is a great, great fruits and vegetables, especially your carrots, your broccoli have a ton of protein in it. Beans have a ton of good protein in them. So there are so many good quality sources that we can get our proteins through. We don't have to consume them artificially through supplementation. Now, again, there are some athletes, there are some, individuals that might need that supplementation, but I would say overarchingly, it's probably better and healthier for the majority of us to start, toning it back or getting off of it versus, adding to it.
Yeah, so, because again, you also have to look at the quality of the protein powder and what else is in it and where's the protein coming from and like all of these other things. Like you said, when you're getting your protein from those natural sources, that's how our bodies are designed to take those in. They know what to do with them. They're easily digestible.
Broken down,
yes, that. and it's going to be a lot. I mean, not to say you can't overconsume, but it's going to be a lot harder to overconsume. Yeah, we've all sat down and ate that 16-ounce ribeye on a
100 grams of protein
special occasion. But yeah, for the most part, it's like if you're eating, like you said, 1 or 2 chicken thighs. I mean, that's what you're eating. You're not going to sit there and although I do remember your one friend who would eat about a dozen or 2 dozen eggs a day. It was a lot of eggs.
Yeah.
But so
and that's 7 grams per egg.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, for the most part, if you're getting it from real food sources, you're going to be less likely to overconsume than if you're getting it from those powders. But again, the quality of those powders and what else is coming in them is a very, very important component as well. Because if you're walking into not to throw GNC under the bus, but GNC or CVS or any of those pharmacies,
stores,
and just grabbing whatever one's on sale or grabbing whatever off the shelf because it looks good because the label says it's going to get you ripped or it's going to get you shredded or whatever the fancy words are they put on there to make you buy them. It's really like everything. You really got to flip that label over and make sure that you're looking at what you're actually getting.
Yeah, and I think some of the big ones that we really need to be careful of, the whey protein isolates, the soy protein isolates. Whey protein is, again, it's a milk protein. It's derived from milk, and just very highly concentrated. Most of the time it's concentrated at a high heat index. So when you do that, you actually start to change proteins in the composition of it. Proteins actually, by nature, they change their composition under heat, and so you'll see terms like 100% undenatured protein, which usually means that's how it's processed. So anytime someone does want to do a protein supplement, I do strongly encourage people to look at an undenatured supplement because that has a lot to do with how it was processed. The other thing that we look at is if you do want to do a milk protein, a whey supplement, I always look at the RGBH, which is the recombinant growth hormone, bovine growth hormone, and you want that to be free of it. So recombinant RBGH, recombinant bovine growth hormone, RBGH free. And again, it has a lot to do with, how those, how the milk was processed and did they filter out the growth hormone? Because again, that really does tend to add a very inflammatory pathway and, can really cause a lot of long-term health challenges. So I really, I have not taken a whey supplement in, my goodness, it's probably coming up on over 5 years. And I really started looking in it a decade ago. I started looking into changing, my supplementation, but I really have not taken a powder protein supplement in over 10 years. I get my protein through my diet, which is what I strongly encourage other people to do. Now, in your case, you're doing a lot of training right now. So speak to that, Angela, what did you look for and why in your training cycle right now?
Yeah, so I'm hitting a point in my training where, again, recovery was getting difficult. I was I was hitting a lot of fatigue, a lot of soreness, and actually my weight was, for as much as I was training and as much as I was cleaning up the diet, the weight was not responding in the way that I wanted it to, which again, normally I don't care about weight, but unfortunately for the type of sport that I'm in, I have to care about weight. I have to make a certain weight for my competition. So, it just was putting me in a spot and I couldn't quite figure out what I needed. So what I actually looked for was specifically a plant-based protein, and I actually found one that was for female, helping with balance female hormones, because I could feel the way I could feel that my hormones were off just from probably excessive training and not enough time to recover, and just again being a woman, and hormones are such a wonderful thing. And so it's, I could just feel myself out of whack the way my body was responding. It felt very hormonal, so I was really looking for something that kind of had that. So it actually has ashwagandha in it and some other things to help with some of the kind of calming of the stress, the oxidative stress. It has the MCTs in it, so it helps with the so kind of having that as well. It has digestive enzymes to help with the gut. Actually, again, to help with not getting that protein bloat. That was one of the big things. So I do notice that, like, I don't feel that like it's just kind of like sitting in your stomach, like after you've had one of those ones that can't be digested. And it only has, I just looked it up, it only has 18 grams of protein. So that was the other thing too. I didn't want something that was going to be like this so bulky, massive, this massive amount of protein. So just kind of, tried to add that in to help with, again, kind of continue to help calm things down. I feel my gut feels better. I don't feel the crazy cravings throughout the day when I have it. So it seems to be giving me that kind of little extra I need. Generally, again, this is the first time I've taken a protein powder in probably 5-6 years, but it's just, I'm kind of at that point where it's like, okay, well, maybe I need to try something. Maybe I need to try, because again, with the timing, sometimes I don't have time to eat a full meal, have it fully digested, and it's just, so sometimes I do just kind of need something a little bit quicker to help with that recovery. And I do notice a difference. So now, am I going to stay on it forever? Absolutely not. It's just, again, that's the other thing
stage
too.
Of life.
It's using it to help with a specific goal, and then not at all something I plan to be on long term, but sometimes, again, your body needs that little extra boost. But I definitely made sure I looked, it's plant-based. It's pea protein, artichoke protein, and algae protein, actually. And then, again, has...
And you also just mentioned the MCTs. I wanted to circle back to that really quickly. So again, I think this just goes to show how much these supplements have come from a scientific understanding over the past, decade or 2 decades or more. Because again, it's no longer just protein packed in there. Exactly. MCTs are medium chain triglycerides. Something that you would get from like coconut oil or some other type of plant-based oil. But again, it's an oil, so that's the fat. So you're consuming now protein and fat together,
which helps control the insulin spike.
Yes, it controls the insulin spike, and again, it's more, it's more attuned to what your body is used to. It's usually eating a protein and a fat together, or a carbohydrate and a protein together, and so it eases the digestive process and the absorption and the the utilization process, I think, much better. And again, that's something that we have learned over the years, in the science realm of protein powders and supplementation. So I think that speaks a lot to what you're seeing now on the shelves.
Yeah, and again, I pay a lot more for it than some of the like a whey protein supplement you could probably grab off the bottom shelf at Sam's Club. Paying 30 cents a serving. I'm probably paying a couple bucks a serving for this, but it's
it's a meal replacement.
Exactly. Yeah, and for me, it's worth it because again, it's getting that quality. It's vegan, it's what are all the things? Gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, organic. Yeah, so it's it checks all the boxes. Where again, at the end of the day, a supplement's a supplement. There's still some processing that's going into it. There's still some I don't love being on it, but it is help. Oh, it also has the branch chain amino acids in it. That was the big thing that I found. Again, just trying to supplement some of that more intense training that I'm doing. But it's at the end of the day, it's exactly that. It's a supplement. So it's there to supplement what I'm doing. It's there to help help combat some of that additional stress that I have on the body right now. And then when I'm not training at this intensity, I don't plan on being on it. Yeah,
and I think that also goes to a lot of times when people come into our office, these are people who are seeking, they're very in tune with their health, or trying to be very in tune with their health. So we always see those individuals on their intake form that we have their list of medications, which a lot of times they're not on, or 1 or 2, but then your list of supplements, and it's just like this laundry list, and I'm like, holy cow, really? You're taking that on a daily basis? I'm like, I'm impressed that, they would have the routine and the discipline to be able to do that on a daily basis. But again, the conversation that we tend to have is, hey, maybe we need to stop this. It's not, sometimes it's not about what you add, it's about what you take away. Let's stop pouring gasoline on the fire, and, let's get to the bottom of what is going to optimize our health and well-being. So, we'll do a whole nother section on supplements and multivitamins and, our thoughts on that, even though you can probably get an idea as to what direction we're going with that. But again, when we look at that, sometimes it's just a matter of let's stop. Let's cut this behavior out, at least for a time being. It doesn't mean it's stopping it forever, but let's see how your body responds by cutting this out. And I can't tell you the number of people that have gone off a protein supplement that have had, significant changes in their energy levels, significant changes in their inflammation, their bloatedness, their water retention. They've had massive changes in their health and well-being because their body was so used to that. And they were just have this like low grade level of inflammation going on, and then they cut it out, and then boom, the body just goes through this complete adaptation in a very healthful way. And then it's the discussion of, okay, do we have to go back to that? Maybe we need to change the quality of it, or maybe we just look at foods that we can put into our diet.
Yeah. Did you really need it?
Did you really need it?
Exactly. Yeah. Were you were
just doing it because someone told you to. You've got the degree from YouTube, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And again, there's nothing wrong with researching. I love people who research, but you have to be able to filter through the information and put logic to the application of it.
Yeah, like you said, if you're using it as a meal replacement, but then you're adding in, like you said, the peanut butter and then all the other stuff, well, then you're not really using it as a meal. You're still putting together a meal.
Yeah, so it's a meal supplement, and you're actually having 4 or 5 meals a day instead of 2 or 3.
Yeah,
so.
and again, if you're the average person, please stop doing the post-workout protein shakes. Just stop. Just stop. That's, again, there's a time and a place where that post-recovery or that post-workout meal becomes very important, and that's when you're training at a certain level. But for the average Joe Schmo who's going to the gym for 30 minutes to 60 minutes, you do not need to be putting that into your system. Just go, have your next meal, make sure it's a healthy one. And if you're eating a balanced, healthy diet and exercising an appropriate amount, that's going to be the best for you going forward.
Yeah. So I think that's again, I think we answered a lot of questions on there. I think that's, just really a good place to kind of pause it. But, at the end of the day, I said protein powder packing a punch, and, maybe we packed a punch to protein powder.
Yeah, that's probably more appropriate.
That's more appropriate.
I like it.
So, if any of this resonated with you, as always, check out more information on our other podcasts. Check out more information on our website, ToroFamilyChiropractic.com. And always feel free to reach out if you have any specific questions. We love to help individuals like you or family members in our community and beyond. So as always, I am Dr. Dan with our What the Health podcast and my co-host
Angela. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
You've been listening to What the Health with Dr. Dan and Angela Toro, brought to you by Toro Family Chiropractic. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.whatthehealth.world.